She witnessed a cold-blooded underworld murder.
She saw it. She was there.
They'd never find me.
We did.
Now she's running for her life.
Testifying at this trial.
You can't get off the train, either can the woman.
This is my life we're dealing with.
She's wanted dead or alive.
I don't like people like you, and I really don't like people like your boss.
I'm scared stiff. I don't want to die.
Running Scared in Narrow Margin, Wednesday at 9.
Classic football from the 70s at 11:25, now the Sporting Press.
This week, the Sporting Press is presented by Sue Mott.
Hello. It's been the sort of week when you wish Joyce Grenfell could return amongst us to restore the discipline sport so desperately needs. George, don't do that. But of course, George did do that, as he confessed on pages 1, 2, 3, 30, 31 and 32 of The Sun this week.
Sun, world exclusive. I was paid £140,500 bung in £50 notes. The sacked Arsenal manager confessed greed got the better of him when he was handed the cash in £50 notes by football agent Runa Hauger.
Yes, I was stupid. Yes, I was greedy. If it was offered again, I would definitely say no, no, no.
Oh, yeah. But perhaps George should speak for himself via The Guardian.
What's George got to say for himself? That depends on when you ask him.
Me? Take money? Hey, you'd better be careful. That's a serious accusation.
March 1994.
These allegations are complete nonsense.
February 1995.
The money came as a bit of a shock. I thought, Jesus, what a Christmas present. Fantastic.
Yesterday.
Robert Phillip in the Daily Telegraph agreed.
Fantastic is the word. When asked what he would do if he opened the door and found a naked blonde standing there, George Graham told a Football Association hearing.
It depends how attractive she was.
Or the size of her treasure chest, because Graham, it seems, can resist everything but money.
The knockers are having a field day in the case of poor old George. 2 Arsenal fanzine editors joined forces to pour scorn on their former hero.
What has he done to our game? What is truly offensive is the spectacle of a man who accepted secret payments, offering a concoction of self-justification and self-pity to the very people he betrayed. You're yesterday's man, George. Thanks for all the great memories, but it's a shame it had to end this way.
And last word on this sordid subject to cartoonist Dave Gaskell in Today.
Idiot! The magic sponge, not the manager's bung!
But let us turn to happier football matters. Were there any?
Cloud 9. Gutsy Wraith go out with a bang.
There was. Wraith Rovers losing only 2-1 to Bayern Munich.
Gutsy Wraith Rovers sent shockwaves across Europe before crashing out of the UEFA Cup last night. The amazing 42nd minute strike put Jimmy Nichols' dream team on cloud 9 and left the Munich millionaires on Skid Row. Even the Kaiser, Franz Beckenbauer, was concerned, admitting at the break.
This could be embarrassing for us.
No, Franz. The embarrassment was all ours when it transpired that Wraith Rovers of Kirkcaldy were the only British team to score in Europe last week.
Rover and out.
Warsaw and Warsaw.
Hopeless.
England, the dunces of Europe.
Sick men of Europe. Even John Redwood wouldn't have got us out of Europe quicker than this. It's all orgasm and no foreplay, as we're obsessed with goals and neglect midfield craft.
And precious little orgasm, if you ask me. Today agreed.
Blackout. English football was left humbled and humiliated yet again last night as Blackburn were sent crashing out of the European Cup.
And the Sunday Times?
No power, no glory. Rangers and Celtic were not merely done in, they were blown away. Their pride was splattered all over the fancy palaces they've built to house the central traditions of one of the world's most passionate football cities.
Hugh McIlvenney paused to consider reasons for the failure.
Too many players never shed the shift worker mentality. They want to do a week's work and then get as relaxed as newts.
Who could he mean? Virginia Ironside in Today gave us a clue.
The strange allure of ghastly Gaza. It's not as if he's good-looking. No, he's overweight, chubby-cheeked and piggy-faced. Nor is he charming.
We seem to be talking about Paul Gascoigne of Rangers in England, whose wedding to his pregnant fiancée Cheryl Kyle is more off than on at the moment because...
Gascoigne has not seen Miss Kyle since she stormed out of a restaurant in tears last weekend following an argument over a Scottish model.
Pictured in the Daily Mail in her underwear.
Miss Kyle, on the other hand, is refusing to retract her allegations that the footballer has made her life hell and is a possessive and jealous individual who rules her life with an iron rod. She claims Gascoigne has lied, drinks too much and blames others for his problems.
Very unusual traits in a footballer.
Why?
Asks Agony Auntie Ironside in Today.
Why would anyone want to live with his bad habits and Jimmy Five Bellies anyway?
So what of Gazza's future in Britain's city of culture? That's what Brian Scott of the Daily Mail wanted to know.
Is this the player for whom the Ibrox club paid £4.3 million to Lazio in the hope that they would make big waves in Europe? Or is he instead some tawdry replica from the second-hand market, bought without any warranty?
Oh dear. Pity poor Rangers fans. And not just for their team's lack of firepower. The football magazine 442 had a very disturbing report this month.
Latest score. Yeboah is sex on legs. Official. Scientists have now proven there is a connection between your team's success and a great sex life. Experiments at last year's World Cup final between Italy and Brazil proved that levels of testosterone, the male sex hormone associated with virility and aggression, rise with victory and fall with defeat.
Thank God I'm an Arsenal fan, but we're not all that lucky.
Tony Savas is a York City fan, but he was nonplussed
I think that's a euphemism.
after his team secured that famous 3-0 victory over Manchester United.
Being a York fan, I think all my testosterone was destroyed years ago. But my girlfriend's a Man United fan, so she's got enough for both of us.
Having no personal knowledge of Ray Illingworth's hormone levels, I, like Ian Wooldridge in the Mail, can only wonder what prompted the attack on Devon Malcolm's bowling in South Africa this week.
Illingworth off target with blast at Malcolm. Illingworth, team manager, emerged from beneath a shirt protecting his face from sunburn to assert,
At the moment, he wouldn't frighten you.
meaning the knee-trembling reporters.
Never mind the South African batsman.
Lever, bowling coach, said,
He is just one asset, pace. That apart is a non-entity in cricketing terms.
The Observer was not amused.
silly Illy and the plank of England. So what the hell does that make Lever? He was hardly a superstar himself. In fact, in his playing days, he was known as the plank. No need to ask why.
Malcolm's own reaction was not recorded in the sports pages, but Frank Keating in The Guardian responded for him.
Devon mugged by crudely wielded lever. Who would blame Devon Malcolm if he caught the next plane home to enjoy a warm English winter among those who would pamper his singular talent with care and encouragement? I cannot remember ever reading any sports page and being so angry as I was on Tuesday.
You want angry? You should have heard the reaction in Scotland when the snooker player Stephen Hendry vowed to leave his homeland for a soft Sassenach existence if a Scottish Parliament threatened to tax his millions.
You're talking balls, Stephen. Fury over snub to Scotland. Snooker star Stephen Hendry was slammed last night for threatening to quit Scotland. The millionaire vowed to desert to England to protect his pots of cash. But MP Tommy Graham said last night,
If that's his attitude, then balls to you, son.
Good God, it makes it sound as though people are in sport for the money, whereas men like Bobby Riggs, who died last week, were in it for far nobler reasons.
Robert Larrimore Riggs, American tennis champion and braggart male chauvinist, died on October the 25th, aged 77.
Remember his tennis match with Billie Jean King in 1973? They called it the Battle of the Sexes.
even an old man like me with one foot in the grave could beat any woman player. When I get through with Billy, she might just go home and start raising a family.
He said.
That's where women should be, barefoot and pregnant. Then they can't get out.
Is that Ron Atkinson I hear shouting, "Hear, hear"? Anyway,
Miss King won, women rejoiced. Bras were burnt. It was that sort of time.
the sweet sulphur of vengeance. There's nothing like it. And no, there isn't anything like it, as subscribers to the Mirror Pension Fund discovered.
The Maxwell trial, day 94. Kevin Maxwell admitted yesterday that he spent more time watching his soccer team, Oxford United, than he devoted to the Mirror Pension Fund. When prosecution barrister Alan Suckling, QC, asked,
Do you regard that as disgraceful?
Kevin said he did not.
A shameful admission. They haven't won a single away match all season. not unlike Manchester City, whose supporters are beginning to show the strain.
Rubbish, but they enjoyed themselves. City fans decide they've got to laugh.
We are rubbish and we know we are.
They sang,
We are bad and getting worse.
they shouted, and then to the tune of We'll Meet Again, they sang,
We'll win again. Don't know where.
and they did on Saturday, now only 21 points behind United. And speaking of United, one of their greatest players, George Best, was voted favourite British sports hero of all time in the new magazine Total Sport, as the Star reported.
Best of the best. Wizard tops poll of 100 heroes.
He may have indulged in a lot of drink and women, but it was a life a lot of us would have liked to have lived.
Not everyone agreed with the poll.
Tommy Docherty, that other Manchester United bad boy, calls the poll results diabolical.
It shows you've got to be an alcoholic to be a hero today. It seems the more you disgrace your profession, the more you're liked. Is Al Capone on that list? George was a fantastic player and would have been even better if he'd been able to pass the nightclubs the way he passed the ball.
But George reacted in time-honoured fashion.
He heard the news with half a pint of white wine in one hand and a racing page in the other, propping up the bar shortly after opening time. I might as well have told the 49-year-old Irishman Miss World usually has nice breasts. There was a sip, a laugh, and a scratch of the stubble.
Well, it's nice to know they haven't forgotten about me.
Oh, the sad havoc wreaked by booze and birds. Where was Joyce Grenfell when we needed her? George, she could have said. Don't do that. Good night.
And more comments from the sporting press next week at the same time.